The book of Judges opens this chapter with a singular fact. In those days, there was no king in Israel. The commentator known as the Malbim points to this void, a landscape without a court or the power to root out wicked men, as the source of all that follows. A Levite from the hill country of Ephraim had set out to bring back the woman who had left his house. A plain reading of the text often casts her as the guilty party. But the Malbim notes a specific wording. The verse does not say she went after other men. It says she did something against him, and the text points out exactly where she went. Nowhere else but to her father's house in Bethlehem. There her father pressed him to stay. 4 days of comfortable, insistent hospitality pushed their departure to the late afternoon of the 5th day. They finally set out with a servant and 2 loaded donkeys, dangerously close to nightfall. In a land without central authority, time on the road is a liability. Every hill and valley is a patchwork of separate powers, turning a simple journey home into a calculated risk. The small group moved down the dusty terrace tracks. By the time they drew near to Jebus, the last of the gold light was going gray. His servant suggested they turn aside and spend the night there. The Levite refused. Jebus was not an Israelite town, and its people lived entirely outside the customs of his own. He carried a deep anxiety for what strangers might do to the woman. The Malbim explains that the donkeys and the woman made them a target for robbers on roads where a foreign city paid Israel no tribute and feared nobody. So they pressed on, walking past Jerusalem in the dusk. They reached Gibeah of Benjamin, a town of their own tribesmen, and sat down with their bundles in the beaten earth square as night fell. The text is stark. There was no man who took them into his house to lodge. The heavy plank doors remained shut. He had bypassed a foreign city, certain he would find safe harbor among the people of Benjamin. Instead, an Israelite town left a vulnerable traveler sitting in the deep shadow of the streets. Eventually, an old man came into the square, walking back from his fields in the dark. The Malbim points out the exact weight of this moment, measuring this man against the town. He was 70 years old. He was covered in the dust of hard labor, and he was not even a native of Gibeah, but a resident stranger, with no greater obligation to open his door than any native townsman. Yet he alone took them in. Inside his low, plain room, they washed their feet at a clay basin by the door. They sat on floor mats to eat barley bread, and for a brief time their hearts were merry in the lamplight. The only compassion to be found in Gibeah that night came from a weary outsider. The native residents had already chosen a different path. A loose, disorderly handful of men from the town surrounded the house. The scripture forces a direct comparison to the destruction of Sodom. The Malbim asks the core question: if fire and sulfur rained down on Sodom for this exact deed, why did it not fall here? The 2 crimes, he answers, are distinct. Sodom sinned by statute. Their cruelty was written into their civic code. No traveler could pass through unpunished. Gibeah had no such law. Gibeah sinned purely by unrestrained appetite. When Lot took his guests in at Sodom, he did it in secret, terrified of breaking the local law. The old man in Gibeah brought the Levite in openly, right in front of the town, because there was no statute to break. At Sodom, the mob was every single man of the city, young and old, enforcing their civic code. Here, the mob is a fraction of the town, acting on raw desire. The Hebrew grammar proves it. In Sodom, the men came against the householder to enforce the law. In Gibeah, a shifted word shows they surrounded the house simply to keep the guest from escaping. The word for their knocking implies a show at the door, rather than a physical attempt to break it. When the old man went out to the street, he called their demands vile. They did not argue with him. In Sodom, the act was seen as the law. Here, the men accepted the label of vile and proceeded anyway. The old man pleaded with them, offering terrible alternatives. His pleas failed. They took the woman instead, and the ordeal lasted until the light came. At the pale gray dawn, they let her go. She walked back to the plain plank door she had been taken from. The verse tells us her hands were upon the threshold. She reached it. She was not carried through it. Gibeah's crime was an act of knowing, deliberate wickedness by a rabble, severing the town entirely from the moral baseline of Israel. The Levite brought her home. In response, he made a cold, calculated decision, demanding that the entire nation look at what had happened. Single runners were dispatched at dawn. They traveled along the separate hill roads, carrying physical evidence of the atrocity to the distant corners of the land. A written account could be ignored. This silence, delivered to men standing in their fields and doorways, was designed to shock a fractured, kingless people into facing an undeniable truth. The Malbim explains the Levites' method by comparing the 12 tribes of Israel to a single living body. They are not a loose collection of neighbors. They are one organism. A body cut apart is a heap of dead limbs. When one limb begins to rot with absolute wickedness, the rest of the organism must act. It must either heal the corruption or cut it off to survive. The response from the people was absolute. Nothing like this had happened or been seen since the day they came out of Egypt. It was a crime entirely unseen, committed in the dark behind a closed door. The text lays out 3 strict instructions they were required to follow. First, look into the matter. Second, take counsel together. And third, speak the final judgment. They executed the first step quickly. The second they did badly. When the tribe of Benjamin refused to surrender the guilty men, the assembly turned toward war. The sword they raised over Gibeah eventually fell upon a whole tribe of Israel.